We go now from the jungle to our very own backyard. In Town Mouse, Country Mouse, we discover that the grass is not always greener on the other side. One morning, the town mice woke up, shivering from a dream about the kitchen cat who prowled the house.
I need a vacation. Let me take you to the country where I was born.
Life was quiet and peaceful there. The sun shines brightly every day and air is so clear that you can see the stars at night, the mouse explained.
Let's go right away.
So the town mice packed a picnic and set off for the country. The country mice were at their tree stump house, exhausted from searching for food and avoiding the hungry owl who lived nearby.
Sometimes I wish we lived in a townhouse where all the food you can eat is right there in the pantry. They say that the smell of cheese make your whiskers tingle. Mine are tingling already.
The town mice were outside the country mice's house, putting a huge chunk of cheese in the middle of their picnic cloth. The country mice peered down at it. They heard the town mice exclaim,
"This is a life. If only we lived here."
The country mice crept out.
You like it here? You like it here?
The town mice offered them a nibble of cheese.
Why don't we trade houses? Would you?
Asked the country mouse with her mouth full of cheese.
We'll leave right away.
As they said goodbye, each of the mice thought that they had the better part of the bargain. It was dark when the country mice arrived in town and found the house. They tiptoed inside and wandered into the sewing room where they found what they thought was a sumptuous bed and fell sound asleep. Much too early the next morning, a loud clanging woke them up. Sooty clouds of smoke were pouring over them, and they heard a strange voice purring loudly.
Sauces and ham, it's hungry I am. Sauces and ham, it's hungry I am. Mice in my stew, wait till I catch you.
Who do you think that is? The town mice were up with the birds, ready to gather wild blackberries in the grassy meadow for breakfast. They could smell them. They just couldn't find them. As the town mice reminded each other to remember the way home, they felt a large wet drop on their heads.
What was that? Is the bathtub leaking? No, we're in the country now. Those are raindrops.
Just then, lightning lit up the sky, and rain poured down as the drenched mice ran wildly for their tree stump home. The country mice were looking forward to their first splendid meal in the pantry. Surely there is ham in the ice chest and rolls in the bread box. But the best smell of all is coming from up high. It must be a fine old cheese, they thought. They climbed up as high as they could. Just as they were about to reach the top, they all came tumbling down. Back in the country, the town mice had put on dry clothes. One was especially proud of a bright new jacket. They all took a stroll through the forest to look for acorns and hickory nuts. But their walk was soon interrupted. The town mouse's colorful coat caught the eye of a curious blackbird, and if the others hadn't held on, they would have been carried off. Not far away in town, the country mice brushed themselves off.
Nothing broken.
But when the mouse looked at her friends, she saw how sad and discouraged they were.
I know something that'll cheer you up. Follow me.
The mouse had spied a small window up above the pantry shelves. Together they climbed higher and higher. When they reached the top and rubbed away the soot, they looked out at a piece of blue sky. Doesn't it look like home, they all thought? Back in the country, the town mice stood quietly together after their awful blackbird scene.
I thought I had lost you forever.
They looked around. How still and peaceful it was now. The sun had come out and everything was glistening and green.
It's beautiful here. We should try to enjoy it. I do miss the sound of the town. In our cozy townhouse, we'd know what to expect.
Just then, they spied a fox creeping through the bushes, and the mice jumped and ran as fast as they could. There was a fox creeping through the bushes, and the mice jumped up and ran as fast as they could. and they also knew what to expect from a hungry owl. But they soon found out that there were different dangers here when they discovered a tasty morsel of blue cheese.
You two reach for the cheese. I'm still shaving from the last one.
So the two mice climbed up and reached out as far as they could. While reaching for the cheese, none of the mice noticed the cats coming in, laying down for a nap. As the two mice reached out, they slipped and fell all the way down into a warm bundle of something soft and furry. The country mice were shaking from their fall. The other two ran over and helped them up. Just then, the bundles they landed on were tipping and turning. It was alive. Two green eyes snapped open.
Run! It's an owl with cheese!
The town mice knew how to avoid mousetraps set with cheese, but they soon found out that the country has its own perils when they explored the riverbank. Suddenly, the water began to boil and churn, and some huge wet heads popped up and stared at them. They were river otters. The mice tore back to their tree stump home, only to find a hedgehog rolled into a ball in their front door. They heard other animals crashing toward them through the bush. There were some playful badgers looking for some mischief. "I can't take this anymore," said the town mouse, and she raced toward the nearest tree with the others right beside her. From the tree, they could see the town lights blinking as the sun went down and the stars came out one by one. "What shall we do?" they all thought. Suddenly, they saw a pair of glowing eyes right beside them, and they were face to face with the most terrifying creature of all.
It's the cat with wings! That's it for me!
And they ran toward the town as fast as their legs would take them. As the town mice headed frantically along the road, the country mice were fleeing in terror toward the country. Their paths crossed, but neither saw the other. They were so frightened. Even the sky seemed to be falling down on them. The country mice didn't stop running until they could see their tree stump in the distance. The town mice kept on running until they reached their townhouse. The musty smell of old wood and smoke from the kitchen all seemed wonderful. Even the street sounds outside sounded cheerful and friendly.
There's no place like home!
Atop their cozy tree stump house, the country mice looked up at a full moon shining down on them.
We missed you!
Back on the road, the owls and cats had knocked each other out when they collided head-on. The cats, slowly waking up, touched their bruised heads gingerly. They looked up to see the owls brushing themselves off. It was then that the cats had an idea.
Do you want to treat